Brought to you by 1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
I'm going to be talking to you about power steering today. In particular, we're going to talk about hydraulic power steering systems. Conventionally, for many years, hydraulic was the way to go. Newer vehicles are starting to go to electric power steering systems. Today, we're just going to be talking about hydraulic systems, two major components of hydraulic power steering. First is the power steering pump, and then the second component is the power steering rack or steering gear. Two things can happen to make yourself lose fluid, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is when I lose power steering fluid, what can be going on. The first thing we're going to look at is the pump. The pump is just what it says. It has there's a reservoir that feeds fluid into it, whether the reservoir is attached to the pump or it's remote, such on this vehicle. And it goes in. This is the non-pressure side. And then there's the pressure side, where it comes out and feeds pressure to the rack or the steering box. What can happen is there's O-rings that seal this pressure side. Those O-rings can go bad. You can get a leak from here. And then the front of the pump is sealed. And again, this is about this pump specifically, but in general, pumps are the same way. There's a seal here, and what can happen is that seal can leak and you can start getting dripping from the front of the pump. So basically, if you're losing fluid, the first thing you want to do is identify where it's coming from. Does the puddle collect under where the power steering pump is, or does it collect from one of the ends of the rack or from somewhere on the power steering box? Installed in the car, here's our pump and here's our reservoir. So you would put your power steering fluid in there, driven by the engine by a belt, and it supplies pressure through this line back to the rack in this vehicle, and then there's a return line on the other side of the pump that comes back into the reservoir. As I move the steering wheel back and forth, you can see the motion of the rack. So here's my pressure line coming down and feeding my steering rack down here, which then moves the steering gear back and forth. If you all of a sudden lose power steering and your vehicle gets hard to steer, then most likely your belt has either broken or come off and needs to be serviced. When you turn your wheel quickly, you hear a little clunking noise along with the moving of your steering wheel, and you feel a little click in the steering wheel. A lot of times that can be your tie rod, which is right here, a connection to the steering knuckle. That a clicking or a clunking when you're doing this to the steering wheel can indicate that those are in bad shape.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope this video helped you out. Next time you need parts for your car, please visit 1aauto.com. Also check out our other helpful how-to as well as diagnosis videos.